What's up, interwebs? It's your realtor, Jeremy. It's time for the Valley Market Update. If you saw last week's episode, you know why I think the numbers are wrong. But they're not. They're delayed. As I mentioned in last week's episode, the numbers that we're sharing are numbers from January, which are houses that closed in January, more than likely went under contract in December. So we're really seeing data that's like 30 to 60 days old. And I mentioned that I have a resource that I could use that could give me more up-to-date information. But it costs money to subscribe to that service. And all that service would really help me do is give you better information on this show. So I encourage you to subscribe and tell your friends, share it with your friends. I have a new challenge. My channel currently has 77 subscribers. If we can get me to 200 subscribers, I will subscribe to the Cromford Report so I can give you more up-to-date data. So, do me a favor, hit the subscribe, hit the like, comment. All those things help me grow the channel. But also share it with your friends. If you have friends that like these nerdy stats and data, or you have friends that are considering buying in the Phoenix metro area, even if they have a realtor, share this stuff with them. I'd love to share the information, get more information out there, help the public, help buyers, help agents. That's what I want to do. So if we can get to 200 subscribers, which seems like a bit of a leap, but I think we can do it, I will subscribe to the Cromford Report and give you way more data. All you data nerds are going to love it. All right, let's get into the numbers. This week, we're looking at some West Side cities. Peoria, Glendale, which we look at all the time. Surprise. We're looking at Surprise. I think I've maybe done it once in 3.5 years. So let's get into the numbers. First, let's take a look at Peoria. Peoria saw an uptick of new listings, actually kind of almost back up to November levels, but did see a drop-off in buyers. This is going to be a trend. Unlike the East Valley cities, Peoria continued to go up on average sale price. Absorption rate did jump up a bit. We're still under a month in Peoria. Sold to list price ratio, kind of flat, came up a tiny bit, but we're still just over 100% sold to list price. Days on market looks like it's about 31, so still really fast. Average sale price in Peoria was $514,283, up from $439,978, a 16.89% change. Spread of houses, we sold 269 last month. The previous year, 288, about a 6% drop. The most active price band was the 400 to 500 price point. However, 550 to 750, not too terribly far behind it. Glendale, like I've said before, there's a reason I put these cities together, looks pretty much the same as Peoria did. A big uptick in new listings, up to the same level they were in November. Drop off of buyers. Big old spike of average sale price. My gut is it's a house or two that was a little extra high. We'll look at it when we look at the spread of houses that kind of fudged that a little bit higher, but we'll see next month if it's a blip or a new trend in Glendale. Absorption rate did come up a little bit, but that happens with extra inventory and fewer buyers buying. Sold to list price ratio did tick up a little bit more. That black line, the sold to original list, is creeping ever so closely to the sold to most recent list, which means there are fewer price reductions happening in Glendale right now. Days on market, hilarious that this graph only goes up to 30. That would have been considered fast, but after the last year, not so much. Average sale price, $435,655, up from $339,375, a 28.37% change. It's the highest we've seen so far this month on these Valley Market updates. Spread of houses, we sold 273 last month. The previous year, 294, about a 7% decline. Very similar to Peoria. The most active price bands were a tie for 300 to 400 and 400 to 500. Both sold 80 homes apiece. And I don't see any one specific home that sold for a lot more. Like there were 5 houses that sold for over $1 million, but nothing that was like in the high millions. My guess is just a little extra heavy weight on some higher priced homes that caused that spike in the average sale price. Like I said before, we'll look at that next month and see if it was a blip or a new trend of price increase in Glendale. Haven't done surprise in forever, so we're going to take a little bit different look at this because we're not just kind of speeding through it. Big uptick of new listings. You can see earlier last year, the actives were well below the new and sold. So inventory was even more sparse out there in surprise. Good, steady climb for average sale price, like really consistent. A lot of that is because the price spread in surprise is a little more narrow. Whereas in some other cities, we've got everything from like the mid 2s and 3s up to $1.5 million, $2 million. In this city, we've got a little bit tighter of a spread, and you'll see that when we look at the spread of houses and what the most active price bands were. It's a little more condensed into one area. So when that happens, you have more like homes, you get a little more consistent data on that. Absorption rate looks like it stayed pretty flat from December to January. It is down from the previous months, but up from the earlier part of 2021. Sold to list price ratio, you can see that aside from June, for the most part, the sold to original list has been below the tan line, which is different from what we've seen in most of the other major cities where those lines were flip-flopped for the majority of 2021. All right, average sale price was $452,391, up from $333,858, a 35.5% increase. I want you to let that sit for a minute. A 35.5% increase. In 1 year, a $330,000 home is now worth $450,000. It's a $125,000 return off of basically a $300,000 investment. That is just bonkers. All right, spread of houses. Last month we sold 307. The previous year, 303. So we actually sold a couple more. The most active price band was the 4 to 500 at 131 homes sold. But you can see, and I mentioned it before, if we add up the 3 to 500, those two price bands, it equates to over 200, so more than 2/3 of the inventory was in a $200,000 price span. When there's more like homes, the data is just a little more consistent because there's not like a random big multi-million-dollar house or huge property that's like kind of throwing the numbers off. And surprise is very, very much that. It's a lot of planned communities that are similar houses. There's not a lot of old like properties in there. It's almost all very, very new stuff that was built in like the 90s, 2000s, stuff like that. Whereas most other cities have some older pockets that were all the way back into the 40s, 50s, even earlier than that. All right, well, that's it for this week's Valley Market Update. Like I said, if we can grow this channel and have 200 subscribers, I will subscribe to the Cromford Report. I'll pay the money to have better data so I can keep you, your friends, your relatives, your buddy's realtor, because they're a good friend of theirs, informed as what's going on. And if you don't have a relationship with a realtor and you're looking to buy, especially in this ultra competitive market, I am the perfect realtor for a buyer in this market because I understand the market. I'm a calculated negotiator. I know that my buyers have had great success even in this frenzied market we've had for the last year and some change. So if you've thought about buying and you want to get into something, reach out to me. I'd love to help you realize your dream of home ownership. And if you are looking to sell, it seems like an easy process. It is so crazy right now because of how many offers come in, because of the kind of things that agents and buyers are trying to get their offers accepted. It's a minefield out there. So let me help you sell your place. Make sure I help you dodge all of those potential landmines from some really creative, questionable creativity from a lot of agents out there. And I know because I watch the forums. There's some bonker stuff that goes on out there. I appreciate you guys watching this week's Valley Market Update. Share the video. Get people to subscribe. 200. And I will subscribe the Cromford Report. Pay the money, have all the data. All right, we'll see you guys next week on the Valley Market Update. Bye.